Hey everybody, Kenny Ducey here. It is time for the U.S. Open. Day one is upon us. We will be live on site, or we'll be recording on site for the U.S. Open. This is not the U.S. Open, as you can see. This is my New York City apartment. I am not too far away from the U.S. Open, so I can still get a sense of like the temperature, if that matters to you at all. But what does matter is that I have some value plays laid out here. We'll go through them one by one. All the matches on Monday at the U.S. Open, and we'll get into some day two matches tomorrow. And so that'll be looking forward to that. We'll be recording from the garden outside the media center. Should be very exciting. But let's start off with just one of the first matches that's going to take place on Monday. It's going to be on court 5. It should be jam-packed because Stan Wawrinka is going to play the second match on court 5. I expect a lot of fans there. I expect a packed house for American J.J. Wolf playing Roberto Bautista Agut in the first match. I actually see a lot of value in taking J.J. Wolf to win this match at plus 320 at a half unit, but I see even more value in just taking him to cover the 5.5 games at even money on DraftKings. This is a tremendous bet for me. J.J. Wolf and Roberto Bautista Agut played somewhat of a banger, as the kids would say, back at Indian Wells earlier this year. It went to a third set tiebreak, a match J.J. Wolf really should have won. When you look at Roberto Bautista Agut, I'm not too impressed with the recent results. Now, look, he did go to the round of 16 in Cincinnati and Montreal. Whoop-de-doo, congratulations. He beat Marcos Giron on the way there twice. He beat Francisco Cerundolo only because Cerundolo really errored himself to death in a 3-set match, which really should have won. And he beat Jenson Brooksby. Good win on paper until if you didn't watch the match, he fell down and hurt himself, did Brooksby in the first set. He was up a break, fell apart from there. Played nice first set against Casper Ruud, got destroyed for 2 sets, got destroyed by Coric. Just not really in an RBA type mood right now. When you look at this guy at the U.S. Open, it's been a trouble spot for him over the last 4 seasons. In the last 4 years, he's won 4 total matches at the U.S. Open. Now, I know it doesn't always predict future success or future disappointment, right? But it is worth noting here that it is a faster hard court. And while this guy was a tremendous fast hard court player, a tremendous grass court player as recently as 3 years ago, I do think that he's seen a little bit of a decline. J.J. Wolf is a guy with a ton of power. He has a huge serve, huge forehand. He's been able to hone it in over the last few months of the season, really over this last year, given the fact that he's rose the ranks again, he's gotten his ranking back up. J.J. Wolf is a guy that's going to just hit through the court. I think he's able to hit Roberto Bautista Agut here with the crowd on his side. I think he can easily get this win. We're going to take him to cover the 5.5 games. You should maybe throw a little money line sprinkle on J.J. Wolf to win this match. Speaking of throwing a little sprinkle down, if you throw just $5, at least $5 on any NFL or college football game, you'll get $200 back instantly at DraftKings. It's a special limited time offers for new users of the DraftKings Sportsbook. You absolutely need to take advantage of this right now. It's really that easy. Bet at least $5 on any NFL or college football game. You'll get $200 instantly. Click the link in the video description below. You can claim your free $200 now. It is a no-brainer. You absolutely got to take advantage of this deal. Speaking of taking advantage of some deals, let's talk about a deal right here. A great deal, a tremendous deal. I think maybe the best deal of the day. I've really just escalated this, and now I got to tell you what the pick is. It's Alejandro Tabio at minus 130 against Kamil Maczrak. I ran into Kamil Maczrak as he was claiming his player credential at the U.S. Open. He seemed to be in good spirits, which is good news because this guy has lost all but one of his last 9 matches. He lost in a round 1 ITF match 2 times ago, which was embarrassing. A guy's in the top 100. He should not be losing round 1 of an ITF. For those unfamiliar, you've got the main draw, right? The U.S. Open. The U.S. Open is one of the Grand Slams. You've got the Masters. You've got ATP 250s, ATP 500s. These are generally where the top 100 players play. Sometimes, top 125 players, whatever. Kamil Maczrak is 90th in the world around. Then you've got the challengers, right? Where it's like, anywhere from 300 to 100 in the world. These guys up to the next level below. Obviously fewer ranking points, but still matters. And then there's the ITFs, which just basically for everyone else. Now, his round 1 opponent was ranked just inside the top 300 in the world. Still not very encouraging. Maczrak has had to retire in 2 out of the last 3 matches as well, so he's dealing with the physical ailment. Tabio, not in amazing form, but this is a talented tennis player. He's always been a good guy on all surfaces. He had a nice little run at the beginning of the season at the ATP Cup, put some scares into some good players on hard courts. He can play on hard courts. He can play on grass. And again, he's, it's not like he's in great form, but 2-2 over the last 4 matches looks a heck of a lot better than 1-8 in the last 9 with 2 retirements in there due to injury in the last 3. Kamil Madrak just really is lost right now. He has a losing record this season. I don't think he's as good as Alejandro Tobio, and I think he's going to lose this match. So that's my second pick today. And, a little short favorite, a little big underdog with the spread. I want to go to another underdog here, and this is going to be in a heavily watched match. Andy Murray is back on the court. He'll be facing Francisco Cerundolo, who's gotten himself all the way up to 27 in the world. I think Cerundolo is going to take this match against Murray. He nearly beat Roberto Bautista Agut the last time we saw him. Again, this guy has a huge forehand, a huge power game. It is impossible to catch up to these ground strokes, impossible to chase down his forehand, sometimes impossible to return his serve. And he's lost his last 3 matches, but he's a talented kid. He went very, very deep in Miami to the semifinals of a Masters 1000. He had to qualify it. He did get there, on a couple retirements and, a weird draw, but he did play Casper Ruud pretty well in that semifinal for at least a set. And his game in theory, and again, we've seen it happen this year, off of clay really should translate to faster surfaces and to all surfaces. Again, he has a lethal forehand, one of the biggest in the world right now. I wouldn't say it's like one of the top 5 forehands in the world, but I would say top 15. There's probably not more than 14 other forehands I'd take after Francisco Cerundolo's. He hits the bejesus out of it. I think he's going to hit Andy Murray off the court here. Murray didn't look very good in his win over Stan Wawrinka, which we'll get to in a second. Stan Wawrinka didn't look very good either. But Andy Murray, again, he lost to Cam Norrie in Cincinnati. Tough, that's a tough match. But also it's I really think Norrie on paper much better than Murray. It was maybe a British intimidation match somewhat. But in all seriousness, he's lost 4 of his last 5 matches. He's not in form at all right now. The only way he loses this match is if Cerundolo collapses onto himself, feels the pressure, which is possible. But out of principle, you've got to take Francisco Cerundolo to win this match, plus 125. I think that is a great deal. Much like Corentin Moutet at minus 115 against Stan Wawrinka. I mentioned it. He did not look very good whatsoever against Andy Murray, making errors left and right. Corentin Moutet has beaten Stan Wawrinka twice in 2 meetings, 2-0 against Wawrinka in his career. And this is a trouble spot for Stan, considering against Andy Murray, he made a ton of errors. Corentin Moutet is a world-class defender. He's going to get a ton of balls back into play. Wawrinka is going to be tempted to go for big shots, big backhands down the line, and that is just not a spot you want to be in if you're a Wawrinka bettor, because he's been making a ton of errors lately. His game is incredibly shaky. He looks, should I say, washed up? Pretty washed up, for my money anyway. Just really not himself. And again, it is a situation where the public is going to be all over Stan right now. I think that's why you've got this match close to a pick'em. But in any other scenario, a guy with a 2-0 head-to-head against his opponent who is younger, who is in better form right now, very rarely is that going to be a pick'em. I think you got to take advantage of this line. Also, I want to mention that Moutet did lose in qualifying. He lost in his 3rd qualifying match against Wu. I was there. It was a very good match. He was down a double break in the first. He broke back twice, got it to a tie break, broke back a couple of times after going down a break in the second set, ultimately lost 2-0, but it was a very close match. Wu's a very talented opponent, and Moutet played good defense there. He didn't serve amazingly, still served pretty well. And again, I think that his game is under control right now. It should be a very entertaining match, but I think it's one Moutet wins. So that is one of my favorite bets of the day as well. And finally, I want to mention one more. It is Christian Garin plus 100, not plus 1,000. There are some plus 1,000s on the board tomorrow, but I'm going to go with Garin plus 100 against Kiri Lehecka, who had his shining moment in Rotterdam earlier this year indoors. He did win a challenger. He didn't beat great competition. He got wiped by Peter Gajavchik at Winston-Salem. Garin has lost his last 3 matches. He lost 2 on clay. He lost in the quarterfinals of Wimbledon to Kyrgios before that. He had a great run at Wimbledon. And I think that this guy, look, we've heard for years about Garin, and he is 83 in the world now. He was top 20 because he had all these he won all these clay matches, got all these points there. But this is a guy that we've heard can be an all-surface player. And what he's done, not only, he's shown you on grass, right, with that run at Wimbledon. That was no joke. He played pretty good tennis at Wimbledon. He served well, and he finds great angles. He takes the ball early with his backhand. But you want to look at this guy at the U.S. Open, his history. He always wins a match here. Last 3 years, he's won one match. He's gone to the second round every single year. And, obviously before that, he was stuck in qualifying, wasn't able to get out of qualifying. But he's made a habit of doing that. He's also brought his overall record on hard courts for his career across all levels, 45 and 45. Now, not great. He's had a losing record on hard courts over the last 3 years, but he's gotten match wins there, especially this year, 3 and 4 on hard this year. Again, I know that doesn't look incredibly enticing, but some decent wins. Pedro Martinez, Facundo Bagnis, Dusan Lajovic, all three of those guys do kind of like to play on clay. Actually, a lot. But Pedro Martinez is a good hard court player. Facundo Bagnis looked great in qualifying this week, qualified for the U.S. Open. Dusan Lajovic, again, also is a guy that has played well on hard courts over his career. Not wins rather, that you should take lightly. I thought he's performed pretty well. He played a pretty solid Wimbledon. So I think he's worth consideration here over Lehechka, a guy that has, again, maybe more match wins on a hard court. He is 5 and 3 this year, which is really not that great. And again, a lot coming at the challenger level, and really on the main draw level, he's not enjoyed a ton of success outside of that one run at Rotterdam. Gurian has been here to the U.S. Open. He's played best of 5. He always makes noise. Australian Open earlier this year, he had a win on hard court, or 2 wins rather. I think he's going to get at least 1 win here at the U.S. Open. I think getting him as the underdog, I know he hasn't played a lot lately, but I think he is more talented and more composed and more set up for best of 5 than Jiri Lehechka. So that is my other best bet of the day. Once again, we'll be with you throughout the tournament. I'll be recording from the Media Garden at the U.S. Open. Really looking forward to a tremendous tournament. We've got so many matches to bet on day 1. Equally excited about day 2, and hopefully you are as well. We'll cash some tickets, we'll watch some great tennis, and we'll be along for the ride with you throughout it all. So see you soon. Kenny Ducey signing off for OddsShopper.